Hi, everybody. Here's a really quick video on how to check your sources. This is our assignment, the work you're going to do on potentially the day after you do your research. So in 2023, that's on a Wednesday, but it could be on any day. But you'll notice that you refer to your daily agenda slides, and you're referring to slides 8 and 9 in order to complete slide 7. Okay, so that's the work that you're doing. So let's jump in really quickly. So on slide 5, you did research. You should have at least one quote or fact or statistic or example from a website or a book or whatever that has, and it's probably going to be a website, that has a URL or a source outside of your brain. Okay, some of you will have 3 or more, but you have to have at least one. Well, now we're going to just go and double check that what you have is a reliable source. So let's talk about what that means. So remember that in order to have the right evidence, it needs to be relevant. Relevant meaning it has something to do, it's super duper duper related to what you're actually talking about. So if you're talking about animal cruelty, you want to make sure, or that large mammals should not be kept in captivity, make sure you don't veer off into like maybe the number of animals that are in pet shelters, because those you'd have to really explain how those are related, right? So keep it relevant. Okay, the other thing is it sufficient? Is it enough information? You can pull any information off a website, but are you going to be able to turn what you've pulled? Are you going to be able to turn it into information that furthers your argument? It may not do it on its own. Maybe you're going to have to write a supporting or explaining sentence once you get to that point, and that's okay. But is it enough information if you just have, like, let's say, for example, again, you're doing exotic animals or large mammals in captivity, and one of your quotes is about the number of animals in captivity, and then your second quote is also about that, then one of them's not sufficient because it's not different. You need to have differing information. Okay, and then the next slide, is it credible? This is a big one. We'll talk about this more in the research unit, but this does matter in this unit. So is it reliable? Is it recent? We talked about the charged and like loaded language. So I like to say what they call like second grade bad words, like avoid words like dumb and stupid. If you see things like that in the source, get off the site because it's not credible. And we'll talk about a couple of other things with credible when we get into the packet. So that's slides 8 and 9. Now you're going to do slide 7, which you're going to need, basically you're going to be pulling information off slide 5 to do this, but let's just take a look. So now you've researched your topic. Now that you have researched your topic, it is time to audit it and make sure your research is credible, relevant, and sufficient. So the first thing you're going to do is anything that you have a source that is, and actually, I'll have you do this for all of your things, even if it is even if it's like a scenario from your brain or whatever. If it's a URL, you'll copy the URL here. I'll show you that in a minute. And then you're going to decide, is it credible? Meaning, is it 10 years old or less? And is it unbiased? Again, we talked about bias. You guys are doing argumentative essays right now, so you might find websites that have an opinion. That's okay. But do they avoid all or nothing language? If so, that's good. Do they avoid charged language? If so, that's good. Also, does the website identify who's has ownership of the website? Because if they don't, you can't use it. And then is it relevant? Meaning, is it about your topic and does it support your topic? And then is it sufficient? Is it enough information? So let's practice with me doing it. So I had this website about the World Wildlife Organization, and you might have to make your slides really small in order to get your URLs. But so I'm going to copy and paste this URL. World Animal Foundation, and I'm going to take it from slide 5 to slide 7. I'm going to paste it in there. I'm just going to go ahead and pull all of mine. I have a second one from the Animal Legal Defense Fund. Boom. And then I have my third one is a quote from a student. If it's like a scenario or a quote, I want you to pull the actual information over. So if you have a URL, pull the URL over. If you don't have a URL, pull the information over. And if you need to make it smaller so it fits, you can. Okay. Also delete extra spaces. This kind of stuff will just kind of make your life a little easier. You can also, seriously, you got to chill, computer. Okay, there you go. You can do that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to check. Is this first source, is it credible? Is it 10 years old or less? And does it avoid biased language? So now I'm going to go check. I have that website open, I believe. Okay, so here I am. So is it 10? I'm going to go to the bottom to see if it's 10 years old or less. It should have like a date that it's been updated or a copyright date. It would be way down here. I don't see one on this one. Now, I'm not going to spend all day checking this, but I might just look through and see if there are any facts or statistics that are recent. Maybe I'm going to go home, see if oh yeah, hold on. I just saw a resource that shows a stat from 2015 to 2019. So that's less than 10 years old. I can use it. So I'm going to go back. And I've already checked. I'll check again, but there's not any loaded language on this page. So I am going to go back to my packet and just put yes and yes. I can put Y and Y. Save yourself some time. Is it relevant? Well, that's kind of, I got to go back to my actual quote and look. Keeping marine mammals captive, whether taken from the wild or bred in captivity, causes immense physical and psychological suffering from capture and transport to a lifelong existence of small barren tanks. Yeah, that's relevant to what I'm talking about. So I'm going to put, and does it support my argument? Yes. Now, if my argument was that it's okay, that sometimes it's okay to put large mammals in captivity, then this one would not support my argument. I'd need to go find a new one. Okay. And then the next one is it sufficient? Yes, I think that is sufficient, and I can write more explaining it to defend my point. Okay, so now the Animal Legal Defense Fund, I'm going to go back to that website, see if I can find a date, copyright date. Let's see. Oh, yeah, no, okay, that's a phone number. And so I'm really taking the time to look and checking it again. If I don't see it, then but then look, I see related articles from their site that are recent. So I'm going to go ahead and call that yes. And I have already checked that it is it avoids unbiased language. Okay, is it relevant? Again, I kind of have to go back to slide 5 to check my quote. The 28-hour law, this law enhanced in 1973, enacted in 1973, requires vehicles transporting certain animals for slaughter to stop every 28 hours to allow animals exercise, food, and water. Okay, that kind of only works. If I'm going to use this one, I would have to be arguing that I think 28 hours is not sufficient, and that I think the fact that it's only every 28 hours is very cruel. So as long as I'm willing to do that, then this quote works. It is relevant, and it does support my argument. Now, if it was like, oh, they have to stop every 5 hours, that would be hard pressed to prove that that's not enough. And so no, that would not. But in this case, I think you could make an argument that 28 hours is not very often. Let me do like over a day, just FYI. Okay, and is it sufficient? Yes. Okay, now, because this last one is from me, or it's a quote from a student. Let's see, I don't want to get kicked out of Meet here. Where are you, Meet? Yes, I'm still in the call. Okay, because this last quote is still is from a student, I am, let's see, is it 10 years old or less? Well, yeah, because I just got it from the pretend student. And is it unbiased? I mean, they're not using crazy, same thing though. This person is not using like the second grade bad words like, stupid or dumb or anything like that. So yes. Is it relevant? Is it about the topic? Yeah, except for this one's actually about cell phones, but that's just an example. And then it supports my argument. Yes. Mine. And then is it enough information? Yes. Okay. So even I left you more boxes because you might have more than three, the three required quotes or pieces of evidence. But I only gave you 5 boxes. If you have more than 5, I guess you'll have to add your own box. But again, I would say if you have more than 5, you're in the danger zone. And maybe come and see me because it may not be good that you have more than 5. Okay, I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.